Welcome to Business Talk Sister Gawk. I'm Becca, and today's podcast episode topic is business advice I wish I had a mentor tell me. And this is actually part 6 in a series. And if you haven't listened to the other ones, that's totally okay. You can listen to them in any order you want because they're not sequential. I probably said that wrong like 8 different times. But anyways, with me today, I have Mia Holmes.
Yippee.
My sister, one of my many sisters, who's going to be talking with me today. And we're going to just be getting into some different advice that I wish I would have had in business.
Like, how do I run a business and how do taxes work?
Okay, that's a little basic, but
It's a funny joke. I'm so funny.
Okay, Mia's with me today, so we're going to talk about, this is something I wish a mentor would have told me earlier in my life. Read tax law and read the bills as they come out. Do not rely on anybody else to tell you what's in the bill. Go read it for yourself. And then with that, have a 5-year plan for your business about where you're going and strategize what the current administration is passionate about and figure out how what you're doing in your 5-year goal in your 5-year plan that you've strategized should be adjusted to match the incentives, the tax credits, and the rebates that are about to roll out. Because if I would have done this earlier in my life, I think I would be in a completely different place, like to my benefit. Because there's a lot of stuff that people say about like politics and whatever else, and quite honestly, all of that is just fluff to their opinion. And it's not actually getting to the brass tacks of what's going on. And like, if you know what's going on within a bill that gets moved forward, you know, like, oh, hey, this year I should really be looking at real estate investment because there's good incentives for that. Or like, oh, I should be depreciating my stuff on a faster schedule if I have big pieces of equipment because I can mitigate my taxes. And I really think like most people who are super wealthy, actually there's a lot of data on this, the people that get hit the hardest in taxes are people that are like above that 400,000 mark, all the way up to like maybe around like 3 million. But actually ultra wealthy people are like completely strategizing all of their tax costs. And having a business is a huge piece of strategizing your taxes, because a W-2 job is literally set up as easy as it possibly gets, which means that you don't get any of the tax benefits. And so understanding what's in the tax law at the present moment is valuable because it changes. Even in just like, here's an example of this. Like when I originally talked with a financial advisor a long time ago, and by the way, I don't know you. I don't know your personal situation. So this is just for educational purposes. It is not deemed as financial advice or et cetera, et cetera. So please just know that you should talk to professionals, and we're just doing this
grain of salt
educationally.
Take it.
Yeah. So with that being said, like I didn't even realize like there was a tax law change for Roth IRAs where before you could put money in and you could take it out at any time. And then it was like, actually now it's a new law that even though that was the case, now you have to wait 5 years before you can pull any money out like of the principal contributions you've made tax free. And it's like, whoa, they just froze your money from being able to like be moved in and out. And so, well, you can put in as much as you want up to the limit in, but you can't take it out for 5 years. So stuff like that, it changes. And something that you thought you knew is now not the same. And if you can understand that, it's going to be so much easier for you to follow the trail of money through like, okay, their administration is passionate about this, so I'm banking that they're probably going to have some things in regards to like energy efficiency or manufacturing or whatever it is that they've been touting, like they're going to start doing stuff with it. And so just thinking through, what do you need to know about for your business that would be helpful to take advantage of the things that are there. Because otherwise, you're leaving money on the table. And I'm not about saying like one way is better than the other. They're going to do what they're going to do. So just understand it, follow it, and make sure that you're reading it for yourself. Don't rely on somebody else's interpretation, because that's where we get into all of this trouble about fear mongering and everything else. And it's like, let's just read the real stuff. Watch C-SPAN, like, get the real information, and don't rely on news sources as your core source about what's going on in tax law, because that is not going to be good for you. Obviously, yeah, talk to your accountant. I think that that's important, whoever your advisors are, but read it, because a lot of these people are super busy. And I've even found with my advisors, they're not focused all the time on strategizing based on my business goals. They're focused on just putting all the papers together to make sure you did it legally right. And so I think that that's something I wish a mentor would have told me way, way sooner. I probably would have honestly been able to move into home ownership a lot faster if I would have understood the programs that are being rolled out in the bills and how they affect the states, from like the federal to the state, and then how those different programs are available locally. Because do you know who does a terrible job at marketing?
Me.
The government. And so when they have like first time home buyer programs and all this stuff, like that's pretty incredible, like some of the stuff that's there, and you can get like a portion of your down payment paid for by the first time home buyer program in the past anyways. I mean, I haven't looked at it recently, but like just understanding like there's probably money for something that's incentivized for you to be able to do something that they think that you should care about. And so if you're not aware on your own of what's available, nobody's going to go out of their way to spend a bunch of money on Google ads or Facebook marketing to say, by the way, the government is going to do this for you and it's a nice thing, or it's not so nice, so you need to prepare for it. The government's not spending money on that. They put it on their websites and you have to read it yourself. So that's something I wish I would have known a lot more about when I was younger, for sure.
Yeah, I really wish that the school system would talk to my generation and future generations more about tax law and how to do them and read them and things like that, because I mean, I took a few financial classes and I did fairly well, but I still do not understand how to do taxes or anything, and this is going to be my first year having to file taxes as independent, and I have no idea what I'm doing.
Well, and I think that that's true for most people, right? It's like the IRS is scary. I talk to accountants all the time that are like, yeah, my clients, if they get a letter from the IRS, they're like, just give them whatever they need. Just give it to them. Whatever they need, I'll get it. And it's like, that's how terrified people are. And it's like, well, you don't need to be terrified. You just need to follow the rules. And if you read the rules and you know what they are, then you can ask way more informed questions of your advisors to make sure that they're helping you do what you want to do. Okay, so then the next thing I wish, and I feel like this is something that I've been thinking about a lot more because Mia, you've been hanging out with me this week, is I wish that people would have told me, like, as a mentor, they would have said, like, your dream life is not what you have right now. Like, there's so many young people that are like, oh, this is what I want. I want this dream house and all this stuff. And it's like, dude, that's not just going to come right out of the gate. Like, you have to strategize the end game, but you have to work up to it, because how you choose to use your personal time will show you what you can do in the future. It is a direct correlation, but people are so short-minded about the future that they're not seeing what they can do if they continue to strategize and plan.
In the moment. And I find that really difficult because I have this whole goal of, like, I want a farmhouse, I want to do all this and all this stuff and, like, do art on my own, but it's really hard to, like, even comprehend in my brain of being like, yes, I'm going to have to take steps to do that, and, like, one thing at a time. And you've been, like, yelling at me this whole week about, like, Mia, just one step at a time. There's so many job opportunities that you can find, that you can do, and you don't have to focus on a long career in one thing. And Ruthie was telling me this as well, our other sister, that I can do things to try it out, and then if I don't like it, because I'm at a stage in my life where I'm able to do that, where I'm able to try something new, and if I don't like it, just quit and get a new job.
Well, I think there's a way to quit respectfully and strategize
Well, yeah,
that.
like, hey,
right?
2 weeks notice. I hate you guys.
No. But I mean, like, just like, oh, I've learned all the skills that I can from this, and I've maximized it to the extreme of what I think I can glean.
Right.
And now I'm going to strategize and plan for the next position that I want and how I'm going to transition into that without leaving a hot mess of a relationship
Right.
on the way out. You know, and I think that, like, if you can have the end game in mind without getting emotional, like, I think that that's super important. And this is something I wish somebody else told me when I was younger. 20% of this is mechanics. 80% is all psychological. Like, 20% is the actual, like, here's how you do this. Like, step 1, step 2, step 3. 80% is actually just going back to the mechanics and doing it. Because the psychological piece of it is where everybody struggles. This is a mental war on your life.
Yeah.
And if you don't work on attacking the mental war on your life every single day, you're going to stay where you're at.
I think the really big problem that people have right now is, like, there's too many options. You go from, like, you're doing a one job and there's nothing, maybe you lose that job, and then all of a sudden there's like 15 or 16 different options that you're going back and forth between, because you're like, well, I can do all of these things really well, but I can't think of one that I want to commit myself to for a long period of time.
And I would say that, so I've talked about this on the podcast before, but I would say that that is the curse of an affluent nation. Because as you become more affluent and there are more opportunities, so I'm talking like we are a wealthy nation.
Right.
And as that becomes true, the people who are maximizers that want to get the best out of whatever they do, they are crippled by decision making.
Choice.
They cannot figure out how to make a choice. And that's actually like one of the biggest struggles of Gen Z right now.
Yeah.
Because they have too many opportunities.
Right.
And so that's where it's like, it doesn't have to be the best of the best opportunity. Just pick one and go for it. And then that piece of it that I know I had a mentor tell me was like, if you fail in your 20s, you have so much time to rebound. So fail. And I can't say this enough. Like, I wish a mentor would have then also said, like, your ability to learn through failure is what's going to allow you to create an emotional response that ingrains in your mind far deeper than anything learning in a book. Like, you will learn how to recover faster and faster and how to adjust and tweak to be more agile in your business if you just keep failing and then gain the insights and tweak and reposition yourself regarding what you're investing your time in. It's not about picking the right thing. It's about picking one thing.
Right.
And just doing it. And if you're not good at it, figuring out why, tweaking, and adjusting.
I think that's one thing, too, that I wish, I mean, me personally, but also I think that my whole generation is struggling with, is that we don't have those people telling us to fail, because they think, oh, I've done this before, I failed for you. So now, like, I'm going to be your mentor, and I'm going to tell you, pick this one job, do it well.
And the landscape has changed. Like, if you look at the 1970s, all the way up to, actually, I would say 1950s to 1970s, we had a really strong middle class.
Right.
And, like, there's this aspect of the middle class right now that's like, oh, well, you just need to save for retirement. You need to save.
What a joke.
No, I'm just saying, like, you need to, like, be risk averse, work hard for the company. They're going to, like, really support you, all this stuff. But, like, pensions are gone.
Right.
People do not have the same loyalty, like the companies do not have the same loyalty to people that they did before. Like, look at the cost of living.
Right.
And so you staying where you're at and like just planning to save your pennies is actually like way harder. Like in
Right.
the 1950s, you could have one household earner support a family of 4 people.
Right.
Today, if you have one household earner, you have to have 2 jobs and you're barely getting by.
Right. With just one.
Yeah. And so like those aspects of like the past, we have lots of generations of people that are telling us these things that are, I think at the time when they learned them, it worked out for them. But that's what they learned. And the stay safe, get health benefits, do all this stuff, like I'm not opposed to health benefits. I think that's the number one cause of bankruptcy in the United States is medical debt. It is sad. Like, but what I'm saying is when you're young and you fail a lot, you learn a lot about life. And you actually statistically, not even statistically, psychologically grow in maturity through struggle. That is like proven to be true. Why are you looking at me like that?
When I was a young adult, I bought my first house with 11 raspberries.
Yeah, okay. So things were cheaper then, right?
Right.
Like the dollar was stronger in terms of what it could buy. But that's what I'm trying to say is like we're kind of past this generation too of like techie people in their parents' basement that walk out as a billionaire
Right.
after their college years. Because artificial intelligence is taking away that. We're now in a new space of like,
New era.
yeah, the early adopters are not making the gains that they were before in the tech industry.
Right.
And I'm not saying that they're not there. I'm just saying that like we're almost making a course correction because if you look in the next like I'm going to go back to look at the tax bill because in the last one that just rolled out, it's like commercial property is going to be going like hotcakes because it's already up 20% on the East and West Coast from what I've been seeing.
Is that good?
And what I think is going to be the early adoption is going to be robotic technology in manufacturing because that is what is being incentivized right now. And when that happens, we're not going to have a ton of manufacturing jobs for actual people.
Oh, that's not good.
So what are you doing with your life to make yourself valuable by learning and failing?
We were talking about that too. What are you going to make yourself valuable when like have a practical skill
Yeah,
that you can use after?
absolutely.
Yeah.
People are losing the ability, I think, to have practical skills. But this is what I will say about that. When I say practical skills, I seriously think like when people are like, oh, the economy is good, the economy is bad, blah, blah, blah. I wish, seriously, somebody would have told me earlier, like, dude, get a certification on knowing how to pump out a septic tank because that's not going away. People are always going to go to the bathroom. like that's a stable industry. Garbage, stable industry. You know, there are things that people always need. Water. Like we need these things.
Fire.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, why
Earth.
didn't I think of that earlier in my life? Why didn't I start that business? That would have been like a really good one. Okay, so then the last thing I wish a mentor would have told me, and I'm telling you this, Mia, because like I wish somebody would have told me this. So conciliation court. You should
What?
know what it is. It's like equivalent to small claims court.
Okay.
And you don't need a lawyer to represent you. So basically anything under a certain dollar threshold, and I think in the state of Minnesota in the past, it used to be around like $13,000. If it was like a small quote claim, then you could represent yourself and go before the judge. And this is where I keep saying like, this is 80% of it is psychological because I wish I would have known this for my friends when I was younger because I saw a lot of young people get taken advantage of by bad landlords in
Right.
housing. And they would say stuff like, well, you guys aren't paying your rent, so I'm evicting you. And they're like, well, the thing is, we asked you multiple times to get the wasp nest out of our property, and we can't live there because we are getting stung to death or whatever. And so, like, if a property isn't livable, Like, there are rules around that.
Right.
And that's why I keep saying, like, read the laws.
And contracts, too.
Yeah.
Have contracts.
And looking at, like, what are your rights as a renter and all that kind of stuff. Because if you don't know that for yourself, you're just going to get hit with a whole bunch of these, like, well, you have to do this and I'm taking you to court. And then people are, like, afraid because they're like, I can't afford a lawyer. I can't afford this. And it's like, well, actually, if you just go there and you talk to the legal people in the courthouse, they'll walk you through what to do. They'll say, okay, if this is your situation, this is what you should probably pull together. I can't give you legal advice, but this is what I would recommend if it were me. And I think that that's so valuable to see that and know that, like, you don't have to pay somebody to do this. If you just read up on the stuff, you can go to small claims court and you can represent yourself. And I think that that's a huge tip. Now, thankfully, like, I've never had that problem, but I wish a mentor would have told me about that.
Right.
So that I could have been a resource to other people who I saw getting taken advantage of by people. Because they would get this fat envelope in the mail saying you have to do this and this, and they would be so freaked out and they would just do nothing. And I guess I probably have to say, because we're talking about real estate, that I am a licensed real estate agent in the state of Minnesota through EXP, because legally I have to say that. But anyways, a lot of people are just banking on you having fear, so much fear that you do nothing and they can document, yeah, see, they didn't do anything. So therefore, that justifies what I'm doing or whatever. Like, they're banking on that, or they're banking on you giving up so that you don't fight for yourself. And I'm not saying, like, fighting for yourself has to be disrespectful. Mm-hmm. It's just
advocate for yourself.
Reading the law, understanding your rights, and being able to say, okay, if that's the way that you're saying this is going, I would like to put my documentation together and we'll be able to do this and file it in conciliation court. And look at your contract, because if it says you agreed to mediation or whatever, you're going to have to do that before court anyways.
And this is something similar that you have been speaking on with some different people that you've been advocating for in your window art displays that you've been doing here at Deletto.
Yeah, well, that's more like in regards to like a commission. So like for artists.
For commissions.
Yeah, because that's where I see artists get taken advantage of.
Right.
You know, the reason we have starving artists is because people take advantage of them. Mm-hmm. And they're trusting, wonderful people. And so when somebody says, oh, I want you to do this piece for me, and you're like, oh, you're so excited, you got the opportunity, you got a sale, you start working on it, and then you go to them, I don't like that, fix this. And then you go back and do it again, and you work and you work and you work. And pretty soon, like what you agreed to on the price, now you're getting paid like 25 cents an hour or something to finish the project, because they're just being really ridiculous in what they're asking of you. Or you finish the whole thing and you say, I've got it ready, and they never show up to pay you.
And that's why they need a revision of like 1 or 2 in the
contract.
contract.
And a down payment.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. So that's kind of the stuff that I'm really passionate about, just because I'm like, I feel like not enough people are confident in understanding how to defend themselves. Mm-hmm. And that's why we have such a big belief that wealthy people are evil.
Right.
Like, seriously, because they know how to read the law.
Right.
And they also know how to make people feel scared. And I'm not saying all wealthy people are evil. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying that, like, if you understand these things, and I wish a mentor would have told me, if you understand this and you read up on it and you're prepared, you are going to be able to hold your own. Mm-hmm. When somebody tells you, cease and desist, you're doing something I don't like, you can say, actually, I've looked into it and I've prepared myself and I've filed these papers, and actually what I'm doing is completely legal, and I have documentation that I was the first person to do it. So therefore, you can't tell me to stop.
Right. And this is one thing I thought to bring this up because I was so inspired when you were speaking on this a couple days ago about advocating for your artists, and I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't know that that's what we're about. Yes, good. I'm so glad that you were telling someone this.
For sure. Yeah, so okay, we're gonna pause there and we're gonna transition to the gawk portion of this episode. Okay, I was gonna tell you about the cape that I was talking about with the last episode. I was like, oh, remind me to tell you about the fashion cape that I have.
You're so weird.
Okay, come on. Go with me on this. So,
Okay.
all right. So I was in Eastern Europe. I was in Hungary. And when we were there, I went to this thrift store and I found this fantastic one-piece jumper
Okay.
that had like this shawl sewn into it.
That's exactly what I was thinking you were going to be talking about.
Yeah, dude. And it has like, it looks kind of like a cape.
Yeah.
And I love it.
I haven't seen it on you
It's
before.
so classy, but also at the same time, like it's got side pockets, like it's like almost like Kim Possible pants.
Pockets.
So it's like, it's such a interesting dynamic of like things going on, but it's super artistic. And I was like, this seems very cultural apparently, and I'm gonna buy it because
Okay.
it was only like 15 euros.
Really?
Yeah. Well, it was definitely above my $5 spend limit. But anyways, it was so cool.
See, that was another Midwestern thing. We were like, it's only this much. I'm like, oh, a good deal for you.
Cultural. Yeah. Anyways, so with that though, I got this amazing outfit that I thought was cool. Okay, my husband was just always like, that doesn't look like something someone would wear where we live, which is true.
Yeah, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly. But then I couldn't wear it because I got pregnant and it didn't fit. And I thought, oh, it's never going to fit again. I'm never going to be the same size I was before. But lo and behold, it does. Amazing.
Oh, good.
So I wore it for the first time after like a year and a half of holding it in my closet.
When?
A couple weeks ago.
Oh, I just
and
missed it.
I was at an event, and this is hilarious. So like most of the people were like, what are you wearing? And I was like,
None of your business. I look good.
it looks amazing,
It
doesn't
looks
it? And they're
very
like,
good on me.
what are you, like Superman? You have like a cape on. I'm like, it's not really a cape. It's two parts. And it's more of a shawl.
I'm supporting the new Superman movie. Haven't you seen it? It's so good.
Okay, but it was like this really sheen kind of classy fabric. Anyways, so I wore it. But the people that appreciate art were coming up to me and they're like, I just want to let you know I think that looks amazing. And I'm like, thank you so much.
And then others are like, what are you doing?
Yeah, except for the embarrassing part about it is that I was like also holding a baby at one point and I had to go down these stairs and I didn't realize that as I was walking past the rows of seats of like down this staircase, almost like, you know, like an amphitheater,
Right.
where you're going down.
Right.
My cape was slowly draping over every single row as I went down. As I went down, and I like, somebody was like, you literally hit like 2 people in the head with your cape. I'm like, darn it.
So sorry.
That was so embarrassing.
Well,
I wish they wouldn't have told me I did that. I'm like, ignorance is bliss in this moment. I was really proud of this outfit.
I was like envisioning in my head you like walking past and like it flowing over a bald man's head.
Yeah, that's pretty much what happened. Like, he probably was like, what the heck? Oh, man. Anyways, it was embarrassing. But
I got
at the same
so many
time,
stories like that.
I still appreciate that outfit. Well, if you enjoyed this episode and you want to give it a review on wherever you are listening, please do. And this episode is sponsored by Diletto, located in Chisholm, where we have an art gallery.